At the San Pedro Riparian Conservation Center between Nogales, Arizona and Douglas. I'm gonna go up here and look at the macro. There's a lot of the micro stuff that I could show you that I'm already seeing all over here that proves this is plasma fire. But I'm gonna go up here to this overpass and show you how you can see on the macro lens. Mr. MB3 recently made a video showing a lime and lemon tree at his house that shriveled up overnight. And he says that it gets plenty of water because he's the one that waters it, and that it's seen these temperatures many, many, many times throughout the years. So it wasn't because it was too hot, and it wasn't because it didn't get water. And what I propose is that it was because it received a pulse of ground current coming up through the roots of electricity and or solar plasma based on the hole in the magnetic field and the fact that we are at 0 point. One of those two things is what MB3 is trying to show people. So as we approach this overpass, I just want to draw your attention to how it's all nice and green on the right side, and on the left side there's lots of brown in trees that have a combination of brown and green. So they didn't necessarily burn with fire from the outside, but the fire that burned them on the inside left part of them green, part of them brown, and part of them black like charcoal. A lot of these plants that I'm seeing on the way up still have foliage on them, like leaves or whatever this kind of stuff on the end is, but the plant itself is burnt. Keep that in mind as we go and check this stuff out. See the little brown dots along it like it was burnt? And pretty much all of them have it. This burn pattern to them. Little burn spots on all the stuff that's not actually burnt. It's just kind of singed. Likewise in these trees, especially up top, like this one, you'll notice the left half is burnt, the right half is green. Likewise with this one, some of it's green, some of it's brown, like it suffered a major heat stroke. But it wasn't due to lack of water or extreme temperatures, as I'll show you here in a second. Wow, you hear that? There's like a bunch of crickets that are suddenly going wild. A high-pitched screech. Do you hear that? I don't know if I've ever heard this before. This is kind of weird. But what else I'm going to show you is on the trunks of some of these trees out here is the burn pattern. Center screen, you can see it a little bit, but we'll get some close-ups. It's like the movie Predator. Suddenly they all lit up and started making noise. Like they don't want me in their hood. Anyway, you can see up at the top, there's greenery and some of the brown leaves. And at the bottom of these trees, I'm going to show you the burn pattern that proves there's plasma here. But I don't want to hit the stop record because the sound of those bugs is too weird. You can hear them, right? It's not just me. Here we go. Down to breaking the fence. And as we cruise up to the trees, you'll notice they're burned up to about here. And I'm going to show you some of these burn lines that, like right here, highly burnt, completely unburnt. Electricity causes that. Right here, highly burnt, completely unburnt. Electricity coming up through the inside. Likewise right there, you can see the burn unburn line. Goes to right here. Let's go check out some of the other ones. before these crazy crickets descend upon me, or whatever they are. They sound pretty weird. Here, burn unburn line right there. Here, burn unburn line right there. But what I'll probably have to wait till I'm leaving and I'm actually up on this overpass to show you the macro view. That's one that I should have caught. Right here, you see the burn unburn line, burn on the right, unburn on the left. There you go. Anyway, maybe I did already look at that one. Here's some more of the burn unburn pattern. It shows that this was plasma. Electricity flowing up through the tree, sizzling these branches off, if I can get up in there. These branches, you can see that that one right there, center screen, along with the other ones, are burnt in the middle on the tip, like the branch has disappeared and it sizzled its way right off. Yet the leaves right above it are still there in the tree. So these branches that were sticking out from right there that are now disappeared without a flame. Or the leaves that are right above them would have been hit by the flame. Electricity microwave sizzled off that branch and that branch without touching these leaves. Seeing what I'm saying? Smelling what I'm smoking? Picking up what I'm putting down? See all these leaves over here? Right here is where those branches sizzled off from. I don't want to catch a couple more shots of this because this is a prime example. This one and this one that are burnt. You can see the inside of the branch has burnt, and those branches used to stick out from the tree. And that leaf right there, center screen, and these leaves right here, center screen, these were just above that branch. Those branches, center screen, that are now sizzled down to a nub, those stuck out from the tree that far, to the point where flames would have been going up from these branches here, stuck out at least that far. And while they were flaming, if they had flamed, these leaves would have been incinerated by the flames. But they disappeared due to the microwave energy going through them and no flame in the burning process. Let's go see if we can find these bugs that are tripping on me. So that's the tree we were just looking at. Here's some more of the burn pattern that shows all this burn area right here. Look how far it is between this burn area and these leaves. These leaves. You can see them coming off. So there was no flame coming out from there, or it would have burned those leaves. These leaves are directly above, straight above this burn area. So this burn area put out zero flame when it burned this down to charcoal that it is. Directly above it is unburnt leaves. So it's incidences like this that prove to me these were not putting out flames, or those would be burned. More evidence of the flameless forest fire. Can you hear the crazy bugs? A little lone burn patch right here. Sing it! You hear them? What? I think they're responding to me. That's the burn on burn line. More evidence. Probably just gonna go check out these couple more trees and then get back upon my way. Oh yeah, I'm gonna show you the macro view from the bridge too before I leave. So here, I don't know how well the lighting's doing. There we go. You can see it's burned here, unburned here. Electricity doing that from within. I think the lighting's not right to be able to really show you this one. There's a good line. Right here. Burned on this side, unburned on that side. It stops right there. And then that burn line curves around the tree and goes down to the ground right here. Burn, unburn. Going right up there. Right up there. Right up to there, that's where it stops. Here they come again. Whoa, 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 ah! I think they're singing for me. Yeah, they're definitely singing for me. They're serenading me. And then they're quieting down. Quieting. Quieting. I'm gonna go over to that tree real quick and just show you the burn line on the bottom. It matches the same thing. And then go show you the macro view where you can see all these trees have all these brown leaves all over them. And the other side does not. And those brown leaves were caused by an intense heat that didn't come from drought or natural sun, ambient atmospheric temperatures. The intense heat came from within, and even in places where it didn't produce burn pattern, you can see it produced lots and lots of dry brown leaves, the same as Mr. MB3's lemon lime tree that sizzled overnight and shriveled up. On my way over there, I want to show you this, how it burned from the inside, leaving greenery on the outer edges because the electricity came up from the root ball. And it happened like that on this grass clump, burned on the inside, unburned around the edges. On this grass clump, burned, unburned around the edges. And I've shown you other, this one the same, burned in the middle with a few unburned streaks, likewise here. And it repeats here, burned on the inside. Here, we even have like some ash. We can pull up from the middle, ash. But on the edges, we have green, ranging from dry straw to green straw with ash in the middle. You have like three grades of burn here. Highly burned, semi-burned, and completely unburned. So flame didn't work its way up to the outside and start burning this thing from the outside, or these would be more burned. Flame, electricity came up from the ground, started burning it from the inside outward. And this is repeated all throughout. Here, you have the dry leaves on top of the completely burned, turned to charcoal and dust, with these dry leaves on top of it. So again, flameless. Same thing here. Leaves, remove the dry leaves. Below that, ash. So how did this burn to ash without igniting the leaves that are all over on top of it? Because it's the electricity coming up from the ground doing the same thing to all of these. Here you got another clump, unburned here, highly burned there, another clump here, and another clump here. Now we'll continue our way over to this tree. But as we do, I just want to show you that this is a repetitive theme. Dry leaves, ash in the middle. Well, that looks kind of like dirt. You can see it's been reduced. All these are burnt down. And it's unburned around the edges. Same here, 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 here. There's some ash. Focus, please. There we go. That's not dirt, that's ash with the unburned all around it. Again here, ash, unburned, but it's always centered right in the middle of the bush, leaving the unburn around the edges and the highly burned in the middle. And I just keep seeing a bunch of little spots like this one and this one. See all this straw that could have burned if it was a real fire, but didn't. And then we'll pull these leaves off the top and reveal the ash that's in the middle here. In the middle of some perfectly fine, highly flammable fuel, shows that this is flameless forest fire. A little redundant, but it's such a bizarre concept. Flameless forest fire, what the hell is this guy talking about? That's what I'm talking about. Good fuel that would have burned if there were flames coming from right here or right here, but there weren't. Because these trees were electrocuted in order to create the fire or the burnt wood that it left behind. It wasn't burnt by flame. It was burnt by high amounts of electricity that do not produce flame the way we imagine it. Now I know you can see in the fires in California there's plenty of flame to be seen, but look right here. Highly burnt, unburnt, plenty of fuel. So these are, for the most part, flameless forest fires. And the flames that you do see protruding, I think they get sucked right back into the log or something. Just the same way electricity tries to rejoin the main source of electricity. Fire is a weak plasma, and it tries to reconnect with the rest of the source. And just like us, we are all drops of the ocean waiting to go home to reconnect with the source. So anyway, there's that one. Burn line goes here. Own up the tree. This one, burn line is here. Own up the tree right here. And then it comes back down the other side. Then we'll go check out a couple more. This one, you can see the burn line goes up the tree right here. I'll get a little closer and quit bouncing the camera so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Lighting isn't helping a whole lot, so maybe we'll just write this one off. But what I'm seeing is the burn line is here. It goes up here, and it's unburned on this side and burned on this side. But lighting and glare on my screen, I'm not sure what you're able to see. That's what I'm seeing. Oh, we gotta go check out this one. Looks like it's hollowed out. This log is just like the tree we're about to go look at. This log is hollowed out on the inside and burnt only on the end. Even if it was just laying here, the ground current electrifies it enough that it burns in this way. Same thing with this one. So let's go look at this one. This one's hollowed. I think it's hollowed. From a distance it looked kind of hollowed, but now not so much. It's just kind of burnt weird. Cheap, cheap. All right, here's just another good example of unburnt on the outside of the bush, piles of ash on the inside. I know it's redundant and I keep showing you the same thing over and over, but once you recognize that this is happening over and over and over and over, and it's not an anomaly, this is the burn pattern. This is the rule. This isn't an exception to the rule. This is the rule. This is how all of it is burning. Unburnt on the outer edge. Ash in the middle. Unburned leaves here. So fire didn't come up from the outside and start burning this bush. It burnt it from the inside and from the ground up. Like I gotta just keep saying it until eventually someone else starts saying it, and then I'm not the only one saying it. And then you'll see. But until then, unburned here. Look at all that unburned fuel right next to that pile of ash. Ash. Unburned fuel. Unburned fuel. Unburned weeds around the edge of the bush that's been turned to ash in the middle. And here and there and here and there and everywhere, it just keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. Ash, unburned on the outer edge. Ash, unburned fuel right on top of the ash. Unburned reeds at the outer edge of the bush. And on it goes. Every little black spot you see here is same thing. I figure if I do this like 1,000 more times, eventually someone will say, hey, this crazy guy on YouTube is spotting evidence that speaks for itself. So you can disregard all the other shit he's saying, just believe what he's showing you with your eyes and know that he's showing us something that we've never seen before. Unburnt fuel, unburnt reeds, a pile of ash in the middle. And this is like what Mr. MB3 was showing the other day. I'll include another link in the description where he shows the clouds maintaining their shape. And with the mind's eye, you can see things that other people can't. Even though their photoreceptors on the front of their head are just as good as yours, the information processor between their ears doesn't allow them to see what you can see. And when you see these clouds maintaining their shape for, 10 minutes, half hour. I was with my stepdad 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I point up, we just nonchalantly talking. I was like, yeah, you see that cloud right there? See how it's kind of like a square? There's like a right angle here and a right angle there. You see how it's kind of like a square? And he's like, well, yeah. Normally, he's the kind of guy to say no. Even if he sees it with his own eyes, he doesn't want to encourage you and your conspiracy theories. So he's just going to say, no, I don't see it. But what were you going to say about it if I could see it, which I can't? Normally, he's the kind of guy to play me like that. But he's finally figured out, you're not getting out of this with some wizardry where you try and manipulate the perception of reality and therefore control reality. Anyway, kind of a side note. But I pointed out to him about 3 weeks ago, you see that square in the sky, the outline of the clouds, how there's like a square in the middle of them? And he says, yeah. And then we went on to something else. Well, 4 or 5 days ago, we're sitting out on the back porch, and I point out one of these things in the sky. I'm like, you see how it curves right here? and then there's like a square right angle right here, and then it curves like a genie lamp or something, right angle here, and then a curve here. And he says, yeah, and this was sitting right at the edge of the awning. 15 minutes later, the thing had moved from the edge of the awning clear across the horizon, was over here with the same exact shape, because I kept pointing it out to him, like, you still see that same shape, same curve, and the same 90-degree angle, curve, 90-degree genie bottle? He's like, yeah, and he's the one that pointed out, and it moved from clear over here, right, even with the awning, over to here. And if it were just in the wind, it would have changed shape. And that's what MB3 is pointing out. I'll include the link in the description. That these clouds defy the laws of physics. Even though other people's photoreceptors on the front of their head work just as well as mine, they can't see what I can see. Once you can see it, you can't unsee it. And my stepdad, despite his best efforts to, nothing's gonna change my world, long as I just pretend I don't see it, then it doesn't exist. Maybe he's finally coming around to acknowledging it doesn't matter whether or not you can see it, it exists. My point is, when you open your mind's eye, you can see things because of the information processor between your ears that is a lot like having a sixth sense. Even though you're just using the same information that other people are bringing in through their receptors, their ears and their eyes, you process the information differently, and you can see what they can't see. Like everything I'm going over right here, most people would say, oh, forest fire. They can't see because their mind is not saying, they've lost their critical thinking abilities. They don't ask themselves the question, how does a bush burn from the inside? Leaving a pile of ash with a bunch of dry leaves right on top of the ash, and the rest of the bush unburnt around the outer edge. They don't ask themselves that. Their eyes can take in the same exact information I'm taking in, but they can't see what I can see. And that's how obvious it is. When you look up in the sky and you see those clouds maintaining their shape and the outline, you can see what others can't. I'll just get back on topic for a minute, because that's a whole nother can of worms that I will open in another video. But I will include the link in the description where MB3 shows these clouds maintaining their shape and talks about how this defies the laws of physics, because clouds should always be in perpetual motion. It's like dropping some, food coloring into a river. As soon as you drop it in, it's going to disperse and spread. And when you see these clouds that go overhead and maintain their shape for hours, one of the examples MB3 shows is what he calls a conduit, like a tube that someone took a photo of from a different position hours later, but it was still in the sky. The only issue I have with that is the edges of the tube or the conduit that he's referencing are kind of fuzzy. What I can see on a very regular basis are shapes in the sky with very clearly defined borders, edges. Whether or not they're straight lines and right angles or curvy lines, you can see a very clearly defined line in the clouds, in the sky, and it maintains that shape, whatever that is. That's not a straight line, that's not a right angle, but you can clearly see the line right there. And when 20 minutes later you can see the same line, you know there's something making it hold that shape. You can see something others can't. Others see clouds. And only if you can really embrace the question and the mystery of not knowing will your mind allow you to even see these things. So now we're up on the bridge, and I just wanted to point it out. There's some greenery left in the top of these trees, but a lot of it has been turned to brown leaves. Right? Clear out to here. But mostly on the left side. On the right side, there's a lot more greenery left on that side than this side. And those leaves didn't turn brown because flame hit them or because of the intense heat of a fire. It's the internal heat. of the plasma, the same thing that made MB3's lemon lime tree shrivel up overnight. Ground current coming up, or solar plasma penetrating the magnetic field. So it's much greener on that side, and over here on this side, it's all green. Well, I'll wait for this car to pass, but yeah, it's all green over there. So, this plasma hit from here over to there, going that direction. It didn't hit these trees hardly at all, and it didn't hit anything over on the other side of the bridge. And nothing out there, so it wasn't really a wildfire. It was just this one spot, this one strip right here from over there to right here that got hit, and you can see all the leaves are brown and all the wood is burnt in these odd different burn patterns. I was gonna say, that's not real, is it? That's like a roadside memorial thing for someone that got in an accident here, I think. Look at this sucker. What up, dude? You're famous. Get your bumble on. So you can see that it hit here and here, but if you look out at this side, you can see that it hit here too, because there's a lot of the brush over there that's brown compared to over here, it's all green. So over here, it didn't hit. Over here, it did. Intermittently, here and there. Then you see these trees with all those brown leaves all over them. Intermittently mixed in with the green. And if your mind's open, you can see what there is to see.